G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a hero guide for Steel. We're going to look at his stats, his scaling, and his abilities, and also my build for him. Alright, looking at his general stats, he's a melee hero, intellect order. He has a 2 for basic attack power, a 3 for ability attack power, a 10 for durability, and a 6 for mobility. Looking at his actual stats, he starts off with 585 health, gets 79 per level to end up at 1691, which is quite nice. He has 2 health regen, which turns into 6.2 at max level. 200 mana turns into 704, which we're not really too worried about. 0.7 mana regen turns into 2 mana regen, also not worried about. His basic armor starts at 14 and ends up at 31.5 because he is classed as a fighter. And as per everyone else, ends up with 30.5 ability armor. Alright, first up we have his basic attack, which is just called Punch. It does 58 damage standard. It gains 1 damage per level. It has a 0.2 cleave rating, meaning that any minions off to the side that actually take damage as well will take 20% damage. And it has a power scaling of 0.6, so not too bad, pretty low on the scale for the basic attack scaling, but he can do work with it, especially with a little bit of attack speed. He loves a bit of attack speed. The first ability we're going to look at is his Bulwark, which has been reworked. So now Steel's shield extends and blocks all non-AoE damage that passes through the shield. While deployed, Steel cannot turn, but he can move normally, so you can side strafe, you can back up, move forward. Attacking or reactivating while will allow you to resume normal movement and take it away. So the at level 1 it blocks 60% damage, at level 4 it blocks 90%. It lasts from 4 to 7 seconds depending on the level. It costs 50 mana, it has a flat cooldown of 12 seconds. It's actually really good, especially if you're on comms and you have a carry that is following you along. You can pull this out and he can shoot through it without actually being hit. And the 90% damage mitigation is just insane. Making him even tankier now is his Ablative Armor. It's a passive that grants Steel 4 stacks of ability armor. Taking ability damage removes 1 stack. Steel gains 1 stack every few seconds. This timer is reset whenever he takes new instances of damage. Okay, so you can have a max of 4 stacks. At level 1 they are 50 armor per stack. At level 4 it's 95 per stack. And it takes 6 seconds to get a stack at level 1 and 3 seconds at level 4. This is disgusting when it's actually being used properly. Countess blinking on you and then going for an ult means it does very, very little damage at level 4. A rock from Gideon or a howitzer missile just going to do absolutely nothing. And it actually means that he's pretty decent in mid. I'm not going to go out there and say that you should play him in mid, but just as an example, with the poke that he can take, he can actually play mid. So the only ability that of his normal abilities that haven't been touched is Bull Rush. Still charges forward, dealing damage and knocking back any enemies he hits. He charges for 1600 units. It does 75 to 210 damage based on the level. The power scaling is 0.8, so you're going to get 80 damage per 100 power on your build. The mana cost starts at 65 and ends up at 80, and it has a 12-second flat cooldown. Very good ability for getting out of situations, or for knocking someone up so that they can't continue to retreat, or to push them where you want to. It's also probably the best use of it is if you were to ult someone on their tower and then push them off their tower. It's always been one of my favorites. And speaking of his ultimate, it is called Shield Slam. Steel slams down at a targeted area, knocking up all enemies, dealing damage and applying a short stun. The stun lasts for 2 seconds. The ability damage on it starts at 210 and ends up at 430, and it has a power scaling of 0.9, so damage builds can actually get some decent use out of this. Mana cost starts at 50, ends up at 120. The cooldown starts at 90 and ends up at 60 seconds, but it doesn't even feel like it's 60 seconds. You just always feel like you have it. Only has a range of 900 units and a radius of 450 due to the nerf that he had not long ago. which can make it a little bit difficult to use, just not going to get quite as many people in there. And as I said, best use for it is ulting someone on their tower, backing up behind them and pushing them out. You can use it as a disengage, and I strongly recommend these days to try and actually keep it. If you are running support, that is, and you are tanking, don't just initiate with this at all times. Maybe try and keep it to save your carry, or to lock down someone that is really being pesky. So that's all of his abilities. We will move on over to the build. I recommend that you play Steel as an offlaner personally. He can still be a great support, obviously. He can mid lane, not suggesting that you should do it, but he can mid lane. And he can actually run a damage build. You considering the fact that you don't even have to run ability armor. Even if you did go into standard armor, you could not go for active cards, so that you're not running as a support, and instead put all that towards damage. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we need to go over for Steel. So we'll move on now and we'll have a look at the build. Alright, so here we are over at the Paragon website. Let's just get rid of that a little bit so it's a bit neater, which I call the mountain. I'm sure you probably know where that reference is from. Everybody watches Game of Thrones. So this build is pretty much just a full tank build. It is what I use in the off lane, but it does have a circlet there just in case I am actually going over to the safe lane to play support. So we've got the Centurion. We want to get that extra health at the end, which just makes him disgustingly tanky. You could actually, with this build, go for the Archmagus if you like. We have a health potion healer token for the start of the game. We have a tempered plate with 3 greater guards, another tempered plate with a minor guard and 2 lesser healths. We have a Lord's Ward, which is our dummy ward. A dummy ward is a card that you take at the very, very start of the game. You put a ward down your back and sell it, and then grab your starting items. We have a Guardian's Ward with 3 greater healths. We have an Elder Mage Amulet, which is an early game card, probably the second card I would take in the offlane, with 3 minor casts to give us a good little bit of damage to help our farm and some health. Then we have, as I said, the Circlet of Health, which is fully upgradable. We have an Amulet of the Veteran with 3 greater healths. We have our first card for our farm at the start of the game that we upgrade, which is a Silver Spear with 2 minor casts and a lesser heal. We have a Quenching Scales with 3 lesser healths, and a Barrier of Will with 3 minor guards. Okay, so we go over and we get rid of that. I've done it every time, guys. So we take our Lord's Ward, we put it down, we back, we sell it, and we grab our healer token health potion. Keep in mind, we're just going to talk about playing in the off lane. Obviously, if I was going to the safe lane, I would take the circlet, not these two guys. Okay, so from here, I would probably not go for my ward because I'm just going to be farming. My lane's going to be pushed against my tower the majority of the time. If it's not, I'm going to be farming white camps. So we'll grab the Silver Spear next and upgrade that to give us even more health regen, because we're going to grab another 2.8 off of this and a little bit of power. As I said, then we're going to grab the Elder Mage Amulet to help our farm, unless of course we need to get the Quenching Scales earlier. If we do, we'll switch this up and we'll grab Quenching Scales then Elder Mage. So I would definitely go and grab Quenching next, and then, because that's going to give you a 24 basic armor anyway, and then from here I would probably go and grab this Tempered Plate, which has a little bit of health on it. It's going to help you out. You're going to be sort of up by 600 health at this point. And obviously buying our ward whenever we feel like we need it. Now at this point you've kind of got to throw up as to what you need. If you really are getting in and frontlining a lot, you've got to toss up as to whether you want to go for your Amulet, your Tempered Plate, or your Barrier of Will. Barrier of Will is actually going to help everyone, but it's really, really expensive. What I would probably do from here is actually just upgrade my ward, and then from here we've got enough health. We've got an extra 1,000 health. You could actually just go for your Tempered Plate. Okay, it's going to put you up a lot on the armor front. And then if we get rid of this, just slot into Barrier of Will from there, and you're gonna want to upgrade it though, because it does have the fully upgraded passive of extra armor, which is amazing. And then obviously getting your other Amulet of the Veteran. And why is this not on? Okay, that's cool. I love how I can't choose where everything goes. So that's the full build. Just keep in mind that you do have 3 active cards when you're building your actual deck. So in the end, you will just have 12 extra power, which is passives from your other cards, which is from your Amulet of the Veteran and your Guardian's Ward. You will end up on 3,550 health, unless my math is stupid. You will end up on 182 basic armor, extra 30 mana and extra 0.3 mana regen, which is just, oh, that's some water in the background. I'll just close my door just in case. Sorry about that. So this is the full build. As I said, you're going to be very, very tanky basic wise. Adding into that the fact that you've got Barrier of Will, and when you use Quenching Scales, you're going to get even more armor. You're going to be capped out on the mana on the armor front. You're also going to be you don't need the ability armor on this, because you're going to have your passives to stack up. That's why we're building so much more into health. It's allowed us to instead of just building, say, 2 9-point armor cards, we're able to build a 12 and a 6 straight into basic armor, just make us even more tanky. As I said, this is an off-lane build, but considering we have Quenching Scales, Barrier of Will, Circlet of Health, it can actually pretty much be used as a support build. This is probably exactly what I'd use as a support build anyway. So, link for this will be in the description down below. Hopefully you try it, and hopefully you like it. If you do, let me know in the comment section down below. But apart from that, if you enjoyed this video in any way, shape or form, smash the like button, comment, subscribe if you're not already. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Love your face. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.